Hey, Darcy here with Mind Sculpt Economics. We are a family game store in Great Bend. We've been open about 15 months. We have about 2,400 square foot, and we have a video series we call Boom or Bust, where we talk about our, decisions that we make that could be risky, that could pay off well, or that could be a bust because we're experimenting. My husband and I have wanted to open a game shop for over 10 years since we were dating, getting married, that kind of thing. We tried to do some financial planning, make sure we had steady feet under us, and we opened Mind Sculpt Games about 14 months ago in a location half this size, and we've been trying to live the dream since then. So in Boom or Bust, we do talk about the risky decisions, and tonight we are going to talk about being open on Sunday until 10 p.m., and our main event on Sunday nights is paint night. So what's really risky about a paint night? Well, let's break down some of the numbers here. If we are open in a town of 15,000 people in Great Bend, Kansas, blue-collar worker town, oil town, lots of people that have typical jobs. There's some card shops in really big cities that they're open on the graveyard shift and not during normal day hours, so they don't compete with people in their physical vicinity because they compete on a different time of the clock. So we're not necessarily in that city urban area where we're competing on a different time of the clock, but we don't have much of a competition map. So what we're trying to do instead is we're trying to give more people in our area the opportunity to engage with us as a community builder. So we've expanded our hours, in a way that might be a little risky for us because Sunday night at 10 p.m., I'm actually filming this at 9:12 inside my shop, and there's two other people in here right now, my worker and somebody that just walked in while I was filming. That happens sometimes if you walk into our store. But when we expand our hours, what we're hoping is that we have enough population density that cares about buying what we offer on our shelves, paints included. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're hoping that we have enough population density in our area that will traffic on Sunday nights from 6 to 10 p.m. and that will make purchases from 6 to 10 p.m. Now, part of what we have to be able to do is we have to be open, right? And we have to staff, and we have to pay the man hours, and we have to pay the operational cost of keeping the lights on, the air conditioner on longer. And I don't know exactly how much those costs are. I know how much it costs me to staff, taxes included. I know that number. I'm not saying it on camera. But I don't know how much it costs me to air condition this place from 6 to 10 p.m. I could probably do the math, but I'm not great at that kind of stuff, right? But in being open more, we have more operational cost. And to turn a profit, I have to take out my margins, my percentages, and pay my operational cost after my margins. And then what I have left in replacing the product and paying my cost of operations is potentially profit or reinvestable. And if I'm increasing my hours and increasing my operational cost, I would expect that I'm also increasing my sales in order to increase my profit. Now the question is, do I need to increase my sales directly during those hours, or will being open during those hours create customers who do have those night shift hours? And will that create an environment where we can build community around a painting table, where we can build community around board game night, which is Saturdays from 6 to 10 p.m., and can we create customers that engage with us on those extra hours, Saturday and Sunday night, that actually boost our sales during our normal hours? Do I need to see a return Sunday, 6 to 10 p.m., where each day I'm able to meet my operational cost, meet the cost to replace the cost of goods, maybe work towards the rent? I can pay for rent on, magic release night or whatever, but each night that I'm open, I'm hoping that I not only cover my cost to replace my goods, but also the operational cost for my employee and the air conditioning, but, maybe kick towards a little bit of rent so each day has a lower percentage of rent. So there's a couple ways that we can go positive in this. We can go positive the night of, the hour of. We can go positive by the extra event space that we open by being open in extra hours, creating more customers that traffic to us in normal hours. And we can also go positive in my employees being really useful people. So we have paint nights on Sundays, right? 7 to 9 p.m. We're open till 10. And at those paint nights, Dan Reingans is our local paint expert. And he knows how to use base paints, and he can talk to you about layer paints, and he can talk to you about dry brush technique, and he's used an airbrush. We can talk to you about technical paints. He can even demo some. But another thing is that Dan enjoys paint night. He likes it. And he's actually donated a paint set to the shop that we will lend out to people who come in. Now, we don't lend it out willy-nilly because we want to protect the paints and the space. But if you're willing to come in and pay $5, you can borrow our paints, borrow our tools, and paint. So will we make a direct profit off those $5? Maybe not. Are we going to make a direct profit after cost of operations on snacks and drinks? That's really hard because you don't sell that many snacks and drinks, and we don't mark them up a lot, to be honest. We just make sure people have easy opportunities here. Will we sell enough miniatures by having paint night? Will we see an increase in our category sales for Warhammer, for Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, for games like My Little Scythe that have paintable miniatures in it? Well, very possible, and I'm hoping so, and my brain thinks that will happen. But I won't know those numbers for a while. We're 3 weeks into paint night and extended hours on Sunday, and I do know some data. I know that on 2 nights I have cleared all my cost of operations and my product replacement costs and made profit off them. So 2 nights that are completely green. Now I have 1 night where I have not made enough in-store sales, and actually it's tonight, so the clock's ticking. We have 43 minutes left, and we do have a customer in the store. But with that, I haven't cleared my costs of replacement plus my employee, so I'd actually be running in the red if the night ended right now, if we're only counting in-store sales. But my employees are trained to be very useful people. They don't get to just work the counter and ring things up and tell people the total. So what has Dan Reingens been doing tonight? Well, he operated paint night. He's been uploading cards that we had set, sorted, and alphabetized into our TCG player sales. We ran our reprice tool, so we expect a lot of sales in the next couple of days. And when we first opened, what we relied on to pay our rent was our online sales. We thought, well, based on what we've done before opening a brick and mortar store, we know that each month, if we keep going as we are going, if we can continue to buy, that we can clear this amount of dollars in operational costs for rent and utilities. And we still kind of run that model, except the store is very sustainable in itself. Our growth since we've moved to this store, thank you Great Bend, thank you surrounding area, has been pretty tremendous. So we're pretty good on that. But Dan has not only been filling new cards in, we've been shipping things out. And on top of that, Dan has also been working as a social media manager for me. So what's that mean? That means part of my clock hours where somebody's running my store, where I do have to worry about my operational costs and my replacing my goods, is also me getting a talented person to help me grow my business through marketing. I'm paying my staff member who runs the counter to also be part of our marketing engine. So last week we had a board game post that went up each day. We scheduled it in Facebook, and each of those posts was a picture of a thematic board game set that we put up, and Dan wrote the byline for. I had to do 0 of that. I just told Dan, hey, you're a smart guy. This is what I'd like to see happen. Schedule the posts, and then if I choose to, I can go into Facebook and I can look at my scheduled posts, and I could purview them, make sure they're okay, whatever, but I knew I could trust him. So what is my dollar per hour rate really getting from my employee? Well, hopefully it's getting the sustainable engine out of our store. That means this dollar per hour rate produces at least covers our cost of our operational costs and replacing our product, but also I'm paying for skilled labor. All of our employees are trained to be skilled labor. Jordan is capable of quite a few things. Dayton is a fully trained asset that I get to use. And when I get these guys on the clock and our store costs at least cover themselves, I'm getting so much more out of them in terms of growing Mind Sculpt Games, in terms of growing the business. So when Dan Reingens teaches somebody how to play board games on a Saturday night, I'm growing my customer base. my best marketing dollars are in my dollar per hour rate for my employees who love the games they get to engage with. Dan loves board games. It flows from him. He teaches a class on board games. I went out to Barton and I joined them for their lunch at Barton Community College, and I had a table out there of board games, and I had multiple people come to my table and say, I took a class with Dan Reingard. And I'm like, oh, I employed him. You should come see our board game night. Because he's connected to the essence of what a board game night is. And when he can help people learn how to play Jaipur or Small World, and I can ask him rules questions about pixel tactics and he can answer correctly, like board game night is actually really smooth. So I'm operating, usually in the green, probably sometimes in the red when we risk ourselves from 6 to 10 p.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday in a small town. But I am also investing. Is it better than a print ad in the paper that I have hired someone on my staff that's well connected in the Russell area with board games, that's known throughout our area because he's done video work for us before joining our staff, and that does video work on our staff, that makes pictures for us to put up on social media management, and on Sunday night can schedule out a week of board game posts? Like, how am I not making a good investment here? It seems pretty good. And on paint night, if Dan sits down and he has this whole set of paints that you can pay $5 to use from, and he sits down and talks to you about, well, I would suggest this, or you can do that, or you can get this tool here. And sometimes the answer is, go pick that up at Walmart. And sometimes the answer is, hey, that's right here on the shelf. But he will give you honest, good information about the painting. You will use a set of paints that he too has used. If you pay the $5, you're free to bring your own paints. You're free to buy paints from over here and get the exact color you want, or pick from what we've got, right? But he is investing in a personal relationship of teaching, which he's a really good teacher. My husband and I are educators. We like educators. Dan's an educator. He teaches history like my husband at high school. And in that, me paying for him to invest in someone's hobby, in helping them, and giving them guidance, and giving them personal involvement and face-to-face interaction with someone who cares to help them, cares about the hobby, and ultimately cares about them, that's great. Am I worried about the day-to-day? Am I red or am I black? Is this a good day? Is this a bad day? Well, yeah, I mean, it's my money. It's personal investment. I have to take the losses if we take losses. But if we believe that Mind Sculpt Games is a long-term community builder and that our community cares about us and that we care about our community, this is one of the best things we can do. Now, as an educator, there's something, one of those sayings out there that, be the educator that you would have needed as a child. Or our job's fulfilling because we can be what people needed or wanted. Or we become educators because we had teachers that were good educators for us. That happens. Like, I taught because after my brother passed away in high school, my English teacher was great in not only helping me learn the content, but writing essays in that AP literature class is really how I found myself again. It takes a lot of discovery. That's why I wanted to teach AP English, and I did, and it was great. But here, paint night, I want to enjoy my store on a paint night. I want to come in on paint night and paint. I got a Blood Angel tactical squad, and I've been painting these suckers for a while, and I have 5 of them all the way finished, and I'm working on the second 5, and I said at paint night last night, and I added the Evil Sun Scarlet, and then I added the Abaddon Black, and I think they have 6 colors on them currently, and I'm going to add 3 more. I still need to get what's that grayish one called? Lead Belcher. I need to get the Lead Belcher on them. And then I might do some very light yellows on top of the red and the slightly orange color. And just a little touch of yellow for the final highlights. I also need to do their eyes because they're going to have a darker shade of green here, and then moot green, just one slick through their eyes, so it looks like their eyes kind of light up, and then maybe a wash on the end of them. I have put a wash on most of my Blood Angels. They look like dirty Blood Angels, like they've been tromping through the dirt, but the tactical squad's kind of got to look like the rest of them, so they're probably getting a wash too. I enjoy painting, but if we're being honest about personal motivation and building what you would hope to have. As a kid, when I was 7, my dad was overseas in Korea with the military, and my mom took one night a week to spend just with me. My brother was watched by my grandma, and we went painting at a ceramic shop every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I loved it. I painted with my mom. You know, I was kind of nerdy, so what I painted every time was some ceramic dragon. I think I have 6 of them still in the possession of my family. I painted an owl once, and at the end I decided I wanted black on each of the wings to highlight it, and then I put a little bit of gray on some of them too. It's a very ugly owl, but my grandma kept it until her death. But I painted with my mother, and it was this creative expression. It allowed me to do something. I got to pick what I wanted to paint, and I painted with my mom. And it was a good bonding experience. We liked it. I could give gifts to my family members after I painted. And the staff member, the owner of that ceramic shop, would sit down and occasionally paint with us. Or, you know, she'd had to work the counter a lot or do things like, I don't know, dry the new pottery or burner, kiln it, whatever that term is. I'm not very art educated, although I like art. But I could ask her to help me paint the eyes, or I could ask for advice, and she made my hobby more approachable. So what am I trying to do with Mind Sculpt Games and Paint Night? Well, I hired a painting expert, and sometimes I sit at the table and ask him questions because I want that for me, and in thinking I want it for me, and that I've been a lifelong customer, pretty close, of game stores like ours, well, let's have a paint night. It's something I want. It's something I want for my son. My son and I sat together tonight, and we painted 2 little fox figurines out of my little scythe. Are they pro-painted so that we could sell them online? No. Did my son enjoy it? Yes. He wants to come back next week. Already, my $1 per hour rate is worth it because my son painted with me and wants to do it again. Like, that's really cool bonding for me and my kid. My daughter also painted with me, but she took my model paints and painted Benjamin out of Peter Rabbit and took the red all over and the black all over, and I'm like, Hannah, don't dip so much. So we might have to control that, but it was a family night. My dad was here, I was here, Eli was here, Hannah was here, and we had Mind Sculpt Games being what our family needed. A painting experience, a creative experience. And we're going to do it again. You know, I don't know if Hannah will come out a bunch, but me and Eli are going to paint on our My Little Scythe set, and we're going to try to finish the whole set together. And they might be something he's proud of, and they might be something that we keep for years, and it doesn't really matter what other people would judge it as, and it doesn't really matter. It does matter if I'm making money or losing money on that, but we've created an event that I intrinsically enjoy and that we can build a culture around, that Dan can build a culture around, that the people that come paint here, you know, you might not paint 5 weeks in a row. You might. If you're painting a tactical squad, you might need it because they take a while when you're putting so many colors on them. But what we're able to do is we're able to invest in people that care about us, our customers, and allow them to have good experiences that they can talk to other people about. You know what you can do with our store? You can invite people to our events. You come to paint night, you enjoy it, you appreciate the attention that you get from an experienced painter and the help you get with it, and you invite someone else, and whether or not that night we made enough money back to pay all our costs and stuff, what we've done is we've put marketing time, investment in our customers is really the way to say that. We've invested in our customers, and we hope that word of mouth brings us other customers, and it does sometimes. And we've had different people for paint nights. So there's red and there's black and there's numbers, and I love numbers and I crunch numbers, but sometimes you gotta dream it to make it, and sometimes you gotta want it personally to dream it. And that's really how Mind Sculpt Games is created. That Daniel and I have been card shop customers for a long time. We moved to Great Bend, there wasn't one. We wanted one. We created one. Who's one of the most common players at the Magic table? My husband. Because we organically wanted what we created. Who's going to enjoy paint night? Hopefully me and Eli. My kid seems to like it. That's really good. And then if we create opportunities for others in the community, we'll have to do some number analysis. One day we might have to make hard choices on what decisions stay and what decisions go and what stays on our event calendar and how late we're open exactly on a Sunday night. But right now, we're giving ourselves the opportunity to enjoy what we've created in our business and giving the other people the opportunity to enjoy that too. Because sometimes if you believe in something enough and you open the right doors, sometimes that pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, that's what boom or bust is about right now. We're looking at a night where we're potentially not breaking even on cost of labor and goods replacement. But, again, I got a guy that's helping be my social media manager. We got customer relationships building, the marketing arm. And if I'm looking for 5 years out for Mind Sculpt Games, is paint night the right move? Yeah. Yeah, because the owner is building a better personal relationship with her 7-year-old son. I mean, the conversation could be done right there, right? But we're a business. We're a business. And I believe that opening opportunities to people in a small town from 6 to 10 p.m. on a Sunday, that we're going to get some traffic there that, you know, maybe that's their off hours. And maybe they're looking for something to do. And we can be that outlet. And when they work on the same shift with other people and they find something to do in a small town that's positive, fun, friendly, and encouraging, they tell other people on their shift. It'll happen. We'll get that foot traction. We'll be good to go there. So we're investing in our customers. We're opening new opportunities for people that work weird shifts in town or get out of the house on weird times, or, you know, weird's probably not the right thing to say there. But that Sunday clientele, that late night Sunday clientele, once they find us, they can find each other and come have fun with us. So I think we're good. There is some boom or bust there in terms of there will be Sundays that we lose money in terms of what goes through our cash register and what we pay to keep the operational costs going. But also, we're not a one-trick pony. We got multiple arms. We're building for our future with our marketing. We're keeping our online sales going. We're plugging new inventory in. We're making better merchandising on our shelves. That's part of Dan's job in the next couple weeks, is that he looks at board games, tries to arrange some things, maybe make some shelf talkers that can help us market better on like these or these type of games, and then post some of that online so you not only have the opportunity to foot traffic with it here, but it has the expanded reach online. So I'm rambling a little bit, but things seem good. I enjoy paint night, and it's a heck of a steal when your employees are trained to not only work the cash register, but build your business in multiple ways, because your business is more than one prong. Otherwise, not really a business in the modern era. You got to have multiple stages of attack.